On Election Day, your vote decides more than elected officials to represent us. Legislators and citizen groups have proposed changes to Arkansas's Constitution and state law. Your vote will determine whether to approve or reject those measures. This video, along with the University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture's Public Policy Center 2022 Voter Guide, provides research-based information about this year's ballot issues so you can make an informed decision on November 8th in the general election.
Issue 1 is a proposed constitutional amendment from the Arkansas legislature that would amend a section of the state constitution that describes when the General Assembly can meet and consider new laws. Currently, only the governor of Arkansas can gather lawmakers for a special session and set the agenda for that meeting. With Issue 1, the legislature is asking voters for the same ability as the governor to call special meetings and set the agenda. If approved, the legislature could decide themselves to meet for a special session if the Speaker of the House and President of the Senate jointly decide to convene lawmakers, or if 2/3 or more of the Arkansas House of Representatives and Senate sign a written proclamation requesting the special session. This method would require signatures from 67 of Arkansas's 100 representatives and from 24 of the state's 35 senators. Similar to the existing process under the governor, Issue 1 would allow legislators to consider additional topics once they're finished with the business on the agenda. Lawmakers can consider other topics only if there's a 2/3 vote from the Senate and the House. Issue 2 is a proposed constitutional amendment from the Arkansas legislature that would amend several sections of the Constitution that describe how many votes are required to pass statewide ballot issues. Currently, it takes a simple majority to pass a constitutional amendment or state law on the ballot, or more people voting for the issue than against it. With Issue 2, the legislature is asking voters to increase the percentage of votes required to pass a ballot issue to 60% of the votes cast. Ballot issues that receive less than 60% approval would fail. This new requirement would apply to proposed constitutional amendments from the legislature and from citizens, as well as state laws proposed by the citizen groups through the initiative process. It would not apply to statewide referendums proposed by citizens.
Issue 3 is a proposed constitutional amendment from the Arkansas legislature that would add language to the state constitution, creating the Arkansas Religious Freedom Amendment. With Issue 3, the legislature is asking voters to prohibit state and local governments from burdening the practice of religion in Arkansas unless the government shows there's a compelling reason to do so and acts in the least restrictive way. Issue 3 would provide a legal claim in court or other governmental proceedings for a person to seek relief from the government for imposing on their religious freedom. The amendment would apply to local, county, and state government agencies, courts, state-funded schools and colleges, government-owned utilities, and government-related commissions, councils, and boards. If an entity was created by an Arkansas governing body or law, it would fall under the definition of government in this proposal.
Issue 4 is a constitutional amendment proposed through the citizen initiative process that would expand Arkansas's marijuana laws to allow for recreational marijuana. The Arkansas Supreme Court is reviewing whether this proposal should remain on the ballot. Check out our website for the most up-to-date information. With Issue 4, Responsible Growth Arkansas seeks to create a licensing process for growing and selling non-medical marijuana. The proposal would also legalize under state law the possession of 1 ounce of marijuana by adults 21 and older for non-medical purposes. If approved, the state would allow existing medical marijuana growers to sell their crops for recreational use. The state would also award 12 licenses for growing recreational marijuana using a lottery-style process. Existing medical marijuana dispensaries could also start selling recreational marijuana under this proposal. Owners would automatically receive a second license to sell recreational marijuana at a location at least 5 miles away from their medical marijuana dispensary. Using a lottery process, the state would also award 40 dispensary store licenses for selling recreational marijuana. Cultivation facilities and dispensaries must be located at least a certain distance away from a church, school, daycare, and facilities for people with developmental disabilities. For people with medical marijuana cards, recreational marijuana purchases would be separate from their medical marijuana purchase limits. Issue 4 would change the tax system for marijuana in Arkansas as well. The proposed amendment would eliminate sales tax on medical marijuana and the existing structure for distributing the sales tax proceeds. Recreational marijuana, however, would be taxable under Issue 4. Consumers would pay city, county, and state sales tax when they buy recreational marijuana from dispensaries. In addition to the 6.5% state sales tax rate, consumers would pay a second or supplemental state sales tax of 10% on recreational marijuana purchases. The revenue from this supplemental tax would be used by the state to give annual stipends to law enforcement officers, provide financial support for the University of Arkansas for medical sciences, fund drug court programs, and contribute to state general funds. Issue 4 also proposes to repeal residency requirements for dispensary and cultivation owners, remove background checks for people who own less than 5% of a business, remove a requirement that food or drinks combined with medical marijuana not exceed 10 milligrams of THC per portion. THC is the main psychoactive compound in cannabis. Issue 4 would also delete a section establishing advertising restrictions for dispensaries and cultivation facilities related to artwork, building signage, product design, indoor displays, and other medical marijuana-related advertising. The ballot measure would replace that wording with the requirement that the Alcohol Beverage Control Division establish advertising restrictions that are narrowly tailored to ensure advertising isn't designed to appeal to children. Packaging also must be child-resistant and designed in a way that doesn't appeal to children. Under Issue 4, local elections can be held whether to allow recreational marijuana sales within city or county boundaries, similar to wet-dry elections for alcohol. Cities and counties could not use their zoning laws to restrict dispensaries and cultivation facilities from operating in non-residential areas.
We live in a democratic society where voting is a privilege of citizenship. Democracy works best when informed citizens exercise their voting privilege. We hope the information in this video has been helpful to you. For more detailed information about this year's ballot issues, visit our website at uaex.uada.edu/ballot or contact your County Cooperative Extension Service office. Election Day is November 8, 2022.